Hello, dear. It's Heather, and you are watching Save Today with Heather J. I am somebody who has spent her entire adult life living paycheck to paycheck and being one life event away from financial crisis. I needed that to change in a big way. And so in order for that to change, I knew I needed to create a budget. And I know I personally struggle to create and then stick to a budget. And so I created this channel in the hopes that that would help hold me accountable and push me through the hard times that I knew were going to come. And I know they're going to come because they have every other time I've tried this. And they did, and they have. And I've gotten through some of them, and things will continue to happen, such as life. This is a very new channel, and I am very new to speaking on camera. And because of that, I really struggle with these intros, and I'm not very fluid and smooth. And I guess I apologize for that. And then at the same time, I'm not a perfect human. I'm not a perfect budgeter, and I'm not a perfect YouTuber. I'm just a human being struggling to get by. I'm going to be setting up my September calendar for us. We are now starting a new month, which for me is only my 5th month. I've been doing this 4 months, and I've been able to make a lot of progress so far. More than I had probably thought was possible. And of course, less than I would like to hope and dream. I always want to wish it into place, just think it and manifest it. So I would like to have all of my debt all taken care of in a week. Obviously, that is not real life. That is definitely not where I'm at. But I have managed to get a lot more done than I have ever been able to manage to get done in the past. And I know that that is in a huge part to what's happening here on camera, because I've needed to be consistent and check in here on camera. That has forced me to be consistent and check in with myself. I am constantly becoming aware of and learning from the mistakes and the things I see over and over again on camera. And I'm going to continue to make some of those same mistakes, honestly, over and over and over again. Again, am not a perfect human being, and I am most definitely not any person who is confident with budgeting. I am not a teacher here. I'm very much a student struggling along. So all of that to say, today we're starting a new month, the month of September. And for me, that's just the beginning of my 5th month. As I was looking back at where we're going, I'm surprised. At one hand, it feels like it's been so much longer than that. And on the other hand, it feels like I just started this last week. How is it already 5 months in? When I set up my budget, I start with my calendar. I need to know where my pay dates are and where the first of the month is within that. And that is how I have to set up my pay dates. And then I need to know what is going to be coming out during which paycheck, so I know what I need to get paid. So when I set this up, I get paid every other Friday, and my rent is due on the 1st. Those two things determine when my month starts. So as you see here, I get paid on August 25th. This pink here is the month of August. My rent is due on the 1st. The purple here is what is left of September for me. So I get paid on the 25th and the 8th, and my rent is due on the 1st. So for me, paycheck number 1 in September starts on the 25th of August. Paycheck number 2 in September ends on the 21st. And then paycheck number 1 in October will be in September 22nd. So even you see my months don't really correlate to the actual month very well. And that's just because of how I get paid. So What I have to do here is just write down all of the things that are due. This is the only time I am on camera physically writing anything down with you guys, because I have a tendency to quit talking while I'm writing, and I find myself trying to rush as I'm writing these things down because the video takes so long, and then my writing's really sloppy, and I'm not really comfortable with that. So this is the only time you're going to see me physically writing things down with you on camera. I'm going to go over what's due for me, during this 4-week month. And then I'm going to go over the project I'm working on in the back. If you're new here, you may not realize because I find budgeting to be discouraging, I decided I needed to tie what I find to be unpleasant in with something that I really enjoy, as a way to motivate myself, and also as a way to sort of set myself apart from everyone else. We all have our own unique thing, and for me, I will have a craft that I'm working on during the month that I'm working on this budget with you, and that is, I plan to have that be a different one each month. And so in this background, you will see different fabric from one month to the next, and then we will have a project that we're going over. So that is who I am. That is what we're doing today. So as we get into today's budget, the only thing I have, so I have my rent is due on the 1st, and that is $853. Because of things that were going on at the end of June and all of July, I have a phone bill I'm a bit behind on, and I have a power bill I'm a bit behind on. Now, I thought I had caught up on my power bill last month, and when I went in to confirm that with the landlord, I managed to miss one payment in June, and I really thought that had gotten taken care of, because it's definitely how I had estimated, but I didn't. So I owe that. So on the 1st, I have my July phone bill that's going to be coming out. I'm going to write this down here on the 2nd, just because of space reasons. So I have this phone bill. This is $243.87. This is my August bill that had to be in payment arrangements, and a late fee. I have 2 phone lines, a tablet, and the internet on my phone. I also had, and it's included in this payment, an insurance on one of those phone lines and on that tablet. I have since canceled those insurances, and that will show up in my September phone bill down here, but it's not showing up yet here. When this payment arrangement is actually paid, then I can set my phone bill up in auto pay, which will also drop my payment. So for right now, this $243.87 is fairly high for what I get, and I'm aware of that. Again, 2 phone lines, a tablet, the internet, 2 insurances, and a late fee is all in that payment. Then I do have this utilities that I thought I had paid off, and it turns out I've not, and that is for $153.31. This is actually the bill that I was charged in June. That's the one I somehow managed to miss. Right now, my utilities get billed to the landlord pays him, and I pay him back. And in order to do so, I have a $20 service fee, and then I get a money order for that. So this $153.31 is the utility bill at $133.31, the $20 service fee, and a $2, I might have actually estimated that incorrectly, a $2 money order fee. So I think that's probably supposed to be $155.31. I'll have to go double check my records. But that is everything that is due for me on the first paycheck. On my second paycheck, I don't have anything that's due until the 15th. I have my credit card that's due on the 15th for $200. On the 16th, I have a subscription for $10.82. And on the 17th, I have what will be my September phone bill. And right now, I have that estimated at $211.50. This is the estimate of the bill with those two insurances out. It had been $236.51. I don't know what it will really be until we get to that point. So this may still be a little bit more than that. It may in fact be less than that. But right now, this is the estimate that is on that bill. And then on the 19th, I have some old rent. And I continue to call it old rent because that's easier than, it's actually the cleaning and, you know, repairing holes and fixing light fixtures and all of the stuff. When you move out of a place, they go in and do all of the things that they think they need to do all of the things that should have been done before I moved in, and charge for that. And so that is $73.60 is what that estimate is. Now this one's not set up on a payment arrangement. For this one, I'm just going in and getting a money order and mailing that in to pay for that. So that one I have there for the 19th. And then I do have a old debt that I'm wanting to get taken care of, and this is some toll roads, and this is $198.85. I was living in a different state, and some of the roads they had, I did not realize until it was too late that those roads were toll roads, and they had readers where you would just drive under this little reader, and they were like every 2 to 5 miles. And so I got charged when the 2 times I went to IKEA, I got charged, and the 3 or 4 times I went to the the airport, I ended up getting charged. And once I realized that I was being charged and those roads were toll roads, I got very frustrated and I chose to not pay them. And by choosing to not pay them, because I was sitting in my feelings and being irritated that they were basically, in my opinion, holding the airport hostage. There was no way to get to the airport without going through some form of toll roads. Because of that, I ended up with late fees and collection fees. And so what was originally about $50 became about $200. This is the last of the old debt that I'm currently aware of that needs to be paid before I am able to address my student loans. Student loan payments become due in October, and I've worked really hard to try and get all of my old debt taken care of and out of the way so that come October, the only thing I have to focus on is the student debt. I would like to be able to pay not just the minimum that's due over the life of 10 years, which is how they set you up. I'd like to get that to a point where I can have that completely paid off within 2 years. That is going to be a huge stretch. Now, I don't have huge student loans. I have $6,000 and something in student loans, not quite $7,000. So it's still a significant amount of money. But I don't think that needs to stretch out for 10 years. I have begun the process of trying to figure out how much they want from me and how I can pay down principal. And I'm still at the very beginning stages of learning that. I don't really know how compounding interest works or daily interest. I don't really know how to address paying principal without paying the interest. I'm learning. I'm trying to spend September to figure out what my best path is to get that paid down as quickly as possible. Anyway, that's all that I have due in my month of September. So that is what that's going to look like and where that's going to come. And that's all I have to go over in my budget for this month. Let me double check with my calendar off to the side. Yeah, I don't have anything here planned for above and beyond this. I do know I'm somebody who ignores bills as they come in because I don't have the money to address them. And I do that in air quotes because obviously I could have, and it would have been a small struggle when they first came up, but a significantly smaller struggle than they are now that I'm trying to deal with them. But that is the mentality and the behavior I set up for myself and have been very comfortably living in for an awful lot of years. I'm trying to change that, and it's not being easy. I'm trying to make a lot of changes, and you're going to see me struggle through this. You're going to see me struggle week after week, month after month with a lot of the same behaviors that are fairly foolish behaviors. So I'm aware of that, and we will each day, one day at a time, get a little bit better and better. For those of you who are only here to see anything related to my budget, that's where I'm leaving you today. I have just set up my calendar so I know what's due for which payday, and then tomorrow we can go set up what my month looks like as far as how those dollars work out for us. But for now, I'm going to go over my craft project, what I'm planning to work on during the month of September. Yesterday, as I was closing out my month of August, I let you guys know that I had 3 possibilities for projects I wanted to work on this month. The one I really wanted to work on was a hat that I've had in the progress. I have found all of my millinery supplies. I say found. For those of you who aren't aware, I moved to where I'm at last October, but I didn't get my possessions to me until the end of July. And so I'm in the process now of unpacking and inventorying all of the things that I have. And I'm inventorying it because I will be beginning an online business sometime within the next 6 months to a year. And I know that all of the supplies I have are because of that business, because that's been in my head for probably a good 8 years, maybe even longer. So I have a lot of things that I wouldn't have if I hadn't known that's where I was going to go. All of those things are business expenses and need to be tracked. I want to treat my business as a business from day one. I don't want to treat it like a hobby for a year and a half and then try and backpedal my way in that. And so I'm inventorying everything as it comes out of the boxes. I did find my millinery supplies. Millinery is hat making. So I have some fabrics and laces and beads and things for around the hat band and some things. And I have 3 hats that I'm working on. I haven't been able to find those hats. I really wanted to work on the one that I was in the middle of when I had to stop, and I haven't found that yet. So that unfortunately does not get to be my project for this month. The other option I had was I have some mesh fabric, and I have a patch, I guess, essentially. I wanted to make a beach bag out of the mesh fabric and have this one single patch I had done. I had to be a pocket. It's like a little sailboat, would be perfect on a beach bag. But I don't have the nylon mesh, not the nylon mesh, the nylon webbing for the handles, the straps. And I would have needed to go and purchase that. Things are still a little bit tight. I'm still trying to focus really hard on getting my bills paid. And I didn't want to set up a project where I knew 100% I was going to need to go and purchase something for that project. So ultimately, I opted to not do that one this month either, even though that is something that I'd really like to get done, would get done fairly quickly, and has been in the queue for quite some time. And so then that left a Halloween project that has been off to the side for a couple of years now. I wasn't, of the 3, it's the one I'm the least excited to do, which doesn't mean I don't want to do it. I just had so much more excitement for those other 2. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like here and what I'm working with and see what we're going to get started. This is the pattern that I had wanted to do, this little witch's hat. I really like Halloween decorating, and I really like the purples and oranges and the kind of witches, and I really like the decorating. This particular twist, this is a special tool to get it to look like this. It's a fairly fast project to come together. And working on this in September to have it ready for decorating in October is good timing for that. And this is a small enough project that I could definitely get it done from start to finish if I just stay focused just on it. But this pattern was tucked away with this set of seasonal fabric. I'm going to pull that to the side. Maybe we'll take a closer look at that. So these fabrics are all Halloween fabrics, but as you may or may not see, they're not necessarily conducive, actually this is a Christmas fabric, to something like this. They're all very big prints with a lot of crazy colors on them, and a lot of them, even though they were in with this pattern, aren't really appropriate for the size that I'm working with. They just are too big. So I think I'm planning to use these 2 or 3 pieces in the black portion of this hat here, because I think these are small enough prints that it will be mostly black and show up there. Very patchworky. And then these other things are either not going to get used or they'll get used on the backing of that. And then they'll be set aside for other things for Christmas. But then, because they don't all work well with this particular pattern, I did go through and find some other fabrics within my stash that do work well. So I have a couple of oranges here to be around the hat. I'm not sure if that yellow works out. So this is just looking at all of the different things. This pattern has a green for the hat band and a green for the trim. I did pull a couple of greens out. I probably have enough here for the hat band, but I definitely don't have enough of that green to be the thing around the edges. Couple more oranges here to go do around this edge here. I thought maybe I could do a purple as the hat band and around the edges, and that this purple would work well with this fabric here. I don't know if that shows up. I don't know where the camera is. But if I could have this be this outer edge here, that's kind of what I'm thinking along these lines. And I did pull a couple of extra blacks out. These blacks had been set aside with the stocking that I had been working on. So this is what we're working with to start. We've got this crazy stack of fabrics to get us started. And so, and then this is the tool that you work with that. So basically how this works for anybody who's interested, you cut 3.5-inch squares out of the fabrics you're going to do, sew them together, and then use this tool to cut them apart and then sew them together again. So you'll see that as this progresses, but this is the project I'm going to be working on this month, is this Halloween project. This is going to be just a tiny little wall hanging or hang in the window or something like that. Nothing really super big, and we should be able to just push through and get this taken care of fairly fast, and then have that quilted up and ready to hang out. So that's what we're working on this month. We're working on getting some extra bills paid, living our life, and working on this Halloween project. So that is where I'm at for this video as we set up the month of September. Things are looking really good right now, and I hope they continue to head in a positive direction. And I'd like to say I hope I never have anything swing back in a negative direction, but I do know that life happens, and I do know that I often am my own worst enemy with some of the decisions or lack of decisions I make in regards to my budget. So I don't think it's going to be completely smooth sailing from here on out, but we're going to keep working. week after week, day after day, month after month, year after year. We are only going to get better because I've definitely become more aware, and each day that goes by, each lesson I learn, the more I want to stay on track, and the less it's just not as easy to just give up and say, oh well, whatever. The changes have to happen, and we're headed in the right direction. Anyway, I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for this quick little start to September. You have a wonderful day wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Have fun. Bye-bye now.